This is Aaron Levine, LG Insurance Agency, here in another episode of the Who You Work With Matters podcast with my friend, Nicole Rabbat Levine. Unrelated, I have to make the unrelated comment.
Unrelated.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Nicole, we first met, I think I was doing a presentation or I was at a seminar that your office was holding, and we connected there, and then I've been following you on social media and watching everything you're doing. I love the business that you've built for yourself, and I can't wait to hear a little bit more about it today. So tell me what you're doing, who you're working with, and just start rambling. You go.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me today. So I work with Heritage House Sotheby's International Realty, and I have my own group, so the Nicole Rabbat Levine Real Estate Group. So I work with a bunch of amazing agents, amazing management, amazing broker, truly love them. But within our group, we have 5 of us. And, we just really support each other. We're all working together as a unit, and we have the same processes and trust each other. And that's who I work with, and I'm really blessed to be doing that on a day-to-day.
So what drove you to building an internal team as opposed to continuing to be a solo entrepreneur, a solo agent out there?
Yeah, so I saw a need both personally and in the industry. So personally, I felt the burnout, something that unfortunately we all tend to feel.
So how many years are you in the business?
About 18.
Okay.
Yes, so about 6-7 years ago-ish, I started to face a lot of burnout. It could be a really lonely business. Even though you have a great office that supports you, it's also, we're also competitors.
Right.
So I felt that I needed to grow, and I wasn't sure how or which direction to go in, but I knew I needed to expand.
Okay.
So that was a personal reason. And then in the industry, I just feel that the entry into real estate is really low as far as schooling and what you need to do in order to get a license. But then once you get your license, it's really up to you to make your own business and self-teach, self-learn. And I realized there was a really big need for like-minded realtors that treat it like a professional business.
Right.
And so I essentially selected people that work well with, we have the same culture, we have the same values, same morals, same way of doing business, and said we need to really just expand and really take over our market area.
So I think the team effort is significant when it comes to real estate. And I think that's a great marketing tool for professionals like yourself, right? To build the team, to have those trusted who's on your team, because if you have multiple buyers or multiple listings, it's hard to be in multiple places at the same time when you're on demand with your clients that want you to be their only focus at that time and forever and ever and ever. So having that team allows you to be in more places at once, and those processes are super important, and then there's that huge trust factor that goes into it. Now, I've seen a lot of teams build, dissolve, people go back out on their own, things change, new people come into the team, they leave, they think they can do it better by themselves. We've all done it. You've done it yourself, I guarantee it. So how are you keeping the energy and the synergies within your team growing and consistent?
So I think of us as a SEAL team.
Okay.
So, when you think of like Navy SEALs and whatnot.
We're going to talk about a totally different book. Now you went SEAL team, and now we just have to talk David Goggins. I don't know.
I think of us as a SEAL team, and so I'm not looking to create this 100-person team that we then dissolve because everyone kind of doesn't mesh and we clash. It's really, again, I've been really blessed to have this amazing group, and I don't know, when I say we lean on each other and support each other, I truly mean that. The whole idea with us is, each client should feel that they're my only client, and that's how I treat them. But of course, you can't be the chef, the cook, the server, the maitre d', everything at the same time. So how do we make it feel like one cohesive process where the client knows that I'm there through every step, but yet someone is managing that step to the best of their ability so that I can be here with you and talk about what we do to others, or so that I'm able to create relationships that benefit the client. I can't do that if I have an inspection happening right now. right? So we try to make it where we can help each other out.
Right. So it's very similar, in the way that I've set up my business, and I have trusted team members that do a lot of great things, and they do them better than I do now. Right. I've gotten to the point where my team is stronger than I am with doing the work and having some of the conversations. If you refer somebody to me, I like to have the first initial conversation, create warmth, create comfort, build that set of rapport, and then say, hey, by the way, there's somebody on my team that's better at the next step. They're going to take you from here and be able to manage the process to the finish line, because I can't do that. I can do the opening. I'm great at opening. I'm great at closing the deal, right? I'm good at the 10. There's a 10-80-10 rule. Right? The first 10%, I'm really good at. The last 10%, I'm really good at. I can open and I can close. The 80% in the middle is responsibility goes to a who on my team, somebody that I can trust to finish that 80% and get the job done. And that sounds very similar to what you're able to then do, because then you can be in more places at once and manage those things that you're responsible for, and then your team can manage the other things that they're responsible for.
Yeah, it's never meant for the client to feel that I'm passing them off either, where it's like, okay, I'm out. You're now dealing with the next person. I know what's happening on all of my transactions at any point in time, even those who aren't in a transaction. I know where our offers are, what house we're seeing tomorrow. I never lose sight of that, and I don't sleep much, but that's okay. But I also want to make sure nothing ever falls through the cracks.
Right.
So that's where, for example, I have Marie, who's our transaction coordinator. I know what's happening throughout the entire process. They can pick up the phone, my client, and I'll be able to walk them through it. But Marie makes sure that check mark is done.
Right.
Whereas, again, I'm here. I'm not looking at my entire board to see who's where in terms of what's due, and she's managing that.
And somebody needs to, right? There's how many people are involved in a real estate transaction to purchase a small single-family home?
What do we have, like 10 people on every transaction, and no one realizes how many cooks are actually in the kitchen in order to make this happen?
We just had Matt Cohen from Two Rivers Title, who was a friend of mine and was a guest recently, and we talked less about the title business and more about the cybersecurity. And it's usually a realtor on the fringes or a lawyer on the fringes. There's always a third party, because there's so many people involved, that has a breach. And everybody's trying to get to all that deposit money and get to the transfer of multiple six figures of money, that he's the hub of all the mess. But there's so many people involved in a single transaction between attorneys, inspectors, lawyers, realtors, appraisers. There's dozens of people that you have to manage to make sure you get your commission check and your clients are happy to get the deal done.
Right.
Totally. So with respect to your real estate business, you've also chosen to volunteer on the Monmouth Ocean Board of Realtors and get connected on a higher level. Talk to me about what motivated you to get involved in the Board of Realtors, to learn more about legislation and acting as a group.
So I've been involved for probably last maybe 12 ish years with our Monmouth Ocean Regional Realtor committees. Mouthful. But we have a bunch of committees. And so I've been involved in quite a few of them over the years. Recently, I am part of their grievance committee. I co-chair the members engagement committee. I like to be involved because it's really important for us to know what's going on first. And why not? These are other realtors that we're working with, not just on committees, but also on transactions. So if I can develop that relationship with another realtor and I have a client that's placing an offer on a home or vice versa, it only makes that relationship stronger, where I can then talk about to my client, yes, I've dealt with this realtor before, we have a good rapport. It just makes the transaction that much easier. So everything I do has a client focus behind it.
Okay.
And so that's why I felt I really needed to be involved with our board.
I think it's important, right? For visibility, for understanding and having that relationship with other realtors. And if they're newer realtors, being able to speak to them about being involved on a board. And I do that on the insurance side as well. I'm a vice president of Professional Insurance Agents of New Jersey right now. And I was on the phone with a friend yesterday, and I was invited to speak at an event. I want to say in Oklahoma, right? Because I'm doing some outbound speaking and engagement with other insurance agents. She's like, what do you charge? I'm like, can't pay me enough money to go speak to insurance agents in Oklahoma, but I would do it for fun. I would do it for the engagement. I would do it for the experience. I would do it for the ability to continue to grow my network, because you never know when I need somebody in Oklahoma to refer something. Probably never, but they might have somebody moving to the ocean front and need to open a business, or they're buying a house and need a referral. So expanding my national network is important to me to a certain extent. Like, I would do it speaking engagement for fun, as long as you covered my travel. I don't need to do it for money, and just be able to grow my network. And so there's also, we do a lot on the legislative side for insurance industry that just helps my peers, and it keeps me in the know of what's going on with insurance companies, legislation. It allows you to be better and more educated with your clients at the end of the day, right?
And the committees I selected to be on, co-chairing the member engagement committee, we put on amazing events. And we also give back to a local organization. So, we have a fall event coming up. We're giving back to G's Giving Gowns.
What's that?
So they make, instead of hospital gowns that you're wearing, especially for kids, they make fun hospital gowns.
Nice. Okay.
So if you have to be in the hospital for a longer period of time, they're sewing. And it's a young girl who started this, or she's amazing.
That's awesome.
And so, all of our proceeds from our gift, because it's a gift basket auction style event, the gift baskets, essentially, all of the proceeds go to G's Giving Gowns. We had one that went to lunch break just a few months ago.
Nice.
So we love to give back. And then as far as the grievance committee is concerned, we essentially police ourselves. So it's really good to know what's happening with other realtors. I know we're not supposed to talk about it to others, so we don't. We respect their privacy, but I learn a lot from what's happening on the grievance committee.
Sure. No, that makes sense. It's good to be in the know. So with respect to that charitable organization, if you need a donation or a sponsorship, let me know. We can put a cool basket together.
Please, that would be great.
We'll do something. I love tequila. We'll get a couple different bottles of tequila.
We're doing it at the Tilling House this year.
So send me the details. Get it to Caitlin, and we'll put something together for you to make a
sounds good.
To make a donation. Put a cool basket together or something.
You.
But on the charitable front, you also started your own 501c3.
Yes, so I have to give credit to my husband, Michael.
Don't give him any credit.
He's the one that really spearheaded it and continues to do so.
Okay.
And the charity, it's really evolved since we've started it. It's an amazing charity. He has a focus on schools and, starting different programs for children in underfunded schools. And that's really where our focus began. And then it sort of grew and evolved, and social conscience projects. So we take projects, especially with other charity local organizations, and we see what their need is. So he does a lot with giving back to 180, which is for domestic violence victims, and just doing a lot with a lot of other local charity local charity organizations.
Yeah, so on the kids front, like I typically donate and sponsor events for Steam Park. I don't know if you've heard of Steam Park. So they're big in the after-school space for those underprivileged communities. They also get a lot of food from Fulfill, the food bank, to help children, get meals after school or on weekends. And especially in the time that we're in right now, in the summertime when kids aren't in school, there's a lot of that insecurity for food because they're not getting meals right now. So there's a lot of that, right? Those after-school programs are all great. And then I do, Short of Help is a big one that I donate to. They're a Monmouth Beach-based foundation that supports other charities. So,
that's awesome.
180 Turning Lives and the Fulfill, the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean County, and so many other local charities. They've support, it's like $50,000 a year. So they've create the foundation to then support those other charities that need the money, that are doing the actual work.
Over the last, I don't know how many years, I guess, roughly 5-ish years, so the need for food is obviously huge. So we've been filling a lot of local food pantries, especially within schools. So, Monmouth Daycare Center in Red Bank, Monmouth Cares, putting it into their preschools. Also, we've realized there's a really big need for hygiene. So a lot of these underfunded schools and in specific towns, we've put in washers and dryers.
Oh,
and so the
okay.
kids can actually go to the center to wash their clothes.
It's brilliant.
Because at
Wouldn't
home
have
they may
even
not
thought
even
of that.
have a washer
Right.
and dryer. So we've stocked their pantries also with feminine hygiene products
Right.
and things that deodorant, for boys
Right.
and girls, but for everybody.
If they don't have enough food to eat, they probably don't have the
Exactly.
means to wash their clothes appropriately.
So there's a lot that we've done. I could be here for hours talking about it, but
and you can, because I love it, right? We're all about being able to give back, and
right.
thankful enough that we can give back to those in need, because even though Monmouth County is such a great place to live, there's still a lot of need in and around our communities. And, I love being able to give back. We just had this Chef Lou's Army charity golf outing a couple of weeks ago. It's another food-related charity in Southern Monmouth, Northern Ocean, put on by Chef Lou from Blend on Main. He's kind of the spearheader of that. And my buddy Dan Pace kind of runs the committee for it. And I told him I'd help out. So I was on committee for that and donated, and had a great day at Spring Lake Golf Club, which is always a lot of fun to be able to get out to play golf at Spring Lake. So I got to hit you with this real estate question. Then we're going to pivot to this book that really inspired me to bring you in today. Where do you feel the real estate market is today? Are we getting deals done? Are things happening? Are buyers dragging their feet? Where are we in the whole life cycle of the real estate market?
All of the above. Are deals getting done? Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Deals are getting done. It's just a matter of having proper guidance.
Okay.
So, buyers that have sat on the sidelines or thought maybe in 21, 22, 23, oh, it's the height of the market, and kept saying that, now are kind of kicking themselves, should have purchased in 21. Or it's, rates, I'll wait for rates to come down. Well, rates come down, more buyers come out, prices continue to go up. So it really is just about making sure that the buyer or the seller really has a good grasp on what's happening in their hyper local market. Because every time I get a question, how's the market? Like, which market?
Which market?
We have so many different types of markets happening.
Sure.
So depending on where you are, homes could be sitting a little bit longer. So maybe it's not as predictable as it once was, where you just place a home and you expect to receive 25 offers. That changed a little bit. But as long as you're pricing right and marketing it properly, you shouldn't have a problem.
It's always been pricing right and marketing it properly. But you told me a story about a home you just marketed and sold, or are under contract with.
Yes.
Where the marketing previously was not so good.
Yes. So I recently, just about a week ago, so the weekend of 4th of July. Okay. So we were kind of like, will it be a busy weekend or will it be quiet? But that was the time that worked best for the seller to get it on the market.
Perfect.
Okay. So we went in, did everything we needed to do from a marketing perspective, put it on the market 2 days before 4th of July. Okay. And it was truly like a revolving door at the house. We received multiple offers. They are very happy with where we're landing. Now, prior to us going on the market, they had it on the market with somebody else, different company altogether, which, by the way, not a local company. And I'm not saying that to knock any company that's not local. You could still have a great presence and know about the area. But you need to know about the area. So there was an expectation of what this house should look like for the price that they were asking, and it wasn't presented that way. So we did what we needed to do as far as staging, photography, all, deep clean, all of that stuff. Positioned it in such a way where we were actually asking pretty much the same amount of money that they were asking before, and received well over. So it's not just pricing, it also truly is how is it presented and what are you doing?
So it's branding, right? Each individual property becomes its own brand. I did a video a couple of days ago. One of the books that I'm reading right now, I'm reading Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, right? I don't know if you've read it, but it's a good book. I'm actually listening to it because I do a lot of walking and listening. And early on in the book, it talks about the Apple marketing philosophy from 1977. Which still holds true today. One of the points on that marketing philosophy, it's called impute, right? Which is putting your best foot forward and making sure that your brand aligns with the values that you want to put out there, right? That holds true with everything that we do. That's why we do these podcast videos. That's why we have these conversations. And that's why we put them on the internet, because we're continuing to evolve our brand, and we want people to see us for who we are and be able to learn about us. And so, you take that into pictures of a house when people are scrolling Zillow or Realtor or any of the other websites out there and looking at pictures of homes. The pictures look bad, they're not coming to your open house.
Right.
The pictures look good, they're going to think about it, and not even because they're not looking at the price first, they're looking at the pictures first, right? We're so visual that price and square footage and address are probably second to what that first photo looks like. That it's just so important for our brands, for us as professionals, for homes being listed, for anything that we're trying to sell, that it look good. And right, that's a huge part of the Apple philosophy when Apple opened up all their Apple stores, about how they were aesthetically set up to be the most inviting and pleasing places for professionals to go and be able to buy product. And the dollar numbers that are in this book about the sales volume that Apple does out of these stores is just beyond me. And I'm not an Apple user. I'm not an iPhone. I'm a Samsung. I'm an Android.
Oh, so you're the green text.
Yes,
All
I'm one of those green bubbles, as you people call it. But I live in a Google environment with everything that I do. My house is run on Google Home. My office, we run in Google Workspace. We live in a Google environment. So I think Android is totally better. I will never switch to iPhone. If my kids ever want iPhones, they're going to have to buy them themselves. Not because I dislike the brand, it just doesn't fit my environment. And if I'm paying for it, it stays in my environment. But pivoting to that book conversation, you were doing a podcast, or you were shooting a video with your team. You do your videos at Bellworks or wherever you're doing them, or it might have been on a podcast, and you talked about a book by Will Guidara, Unreasonable Hospitality.
My favorite.
Absolutely one of my favorite books.
Same.
So what drew you to that book? How did you find the book, and what do you really love about it?
So I was actually at a Sotheby's International Realty. It's called Global Networking Event. They do it every 18-ish months, and it's agents from all over the world get together. We talk about best practices, what's happening in our markets, and it's just a weekend or a few days during the week of just intense, an intense learning experience. Will Guidara was our keynote speaker.
That's awesome.
And you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was just in awe by him. And so naturally, we all had his book. We all read it. He gave an amazing speech and just really was totally engaged. And the whole idea is to give unreasonable hospitality to our clients. And there's a major difference between service and hospitality. And I loved hearing what he had to say about all of it. So I was just automatically drawn to it. I ordered the audiobook, I listened to it again, and it's just totally in line with where my thought process is on how to handle it.
Service is black and white, hospitality is color.
Essentially, it's how you make them feel.
Right?
It's what are they feeling? You can provide great service, but are you hospitable? And something as simple as bringing them their favorite drink or candy, not alcoholic, but drink or candy, during a home inspection. We're there for a few hours.
Right.
Sometimes their bellies get, you start hearing the grumbles. And if I just pull out, you love, let's say, Twix bars. And I'm like, you know what, Aaron, here, I brought this for you. You're like, how did you know about that?
Right.
And there are ways that I figure things out. But giving that type of hospitality, you just feel good about who you're working with.
Sure. It's great in any industry, in anything that we're doing. Any professional that's listening or watching this needs to pick up that book or listen to it on Audible, Unreasonable Hospitality. Have you been to his summit? The summit is called? I think it's even called Unreasonable Hospitality Summit. It's in New York City. It's like coming up in September. I didn't register either.
I have to register. Is it this September? I
feel like it's coming up, or it passed, whatever it is.
If there's one coming up, I definitely would like to register for it. I think it would be an incredible event, and it's for all industries.
Right.
But it's the same underlying theme of unreasonable hospitality.
You think unreasonable is a negative, right? Like, oh, unreasonable. Unreasonable is taking it to another level, taking it to a higher level of positivity,
right?
And being able to separate yourself from the crowd. So I spoke on a panel a couple of weeks ago in Florida, and I always used to say, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And someone spun that on me while we were talking on the panel. I said, Aaron, they like us first. then they know us, and then they trust us, right? So we flipped the script a little bit from know, like, and trust to now it's like, know, and trust. And they like us by learning about us in this way. Then they get to know us, when they get to meet us and start having conversations in person and trust us, especially if we can deliver an unreasonably good experience, and it doesn't take a lot to do that. It's an extra 2 minutes to be able to deliver that higher level of experience. And that's what we're going to talk about, right? That's the Google review that comes out. What did we do that was different than transactional, right? That took it to a whole nother level. So after reading Unreasonable Hospitality, I read Danny Meyer, Setting the Table, and I've read so many more books since then, but that was one of my favorite reads. Have you read anything else recently that has hit home?
I haven't read anything else ever. No.
That's the one. That's the only one,
No.
and that is the best one for always.
I've read quite a few, self-improvement type books, and it doesn't have to always be with work-wise. It could just be The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I've read. It was also another great book. But Unreasonable Hospitality happens to be my favorite. And I think it's the way that he tells stories too. One of the stories I remember he talked about, he had this restaurant, this high-end restaurant in New York City, and he had a family come in and he overheard them saying, we were visiting New York City and we didn't get to try a New York City dirty water dog. And, oh my gosh, how are we going to go home tomorrow on our flight and we still haven't tried it? So he actually made one of the servers go out, buy the hot dog, run it to the back. He plated it. He put some, relish. The cook was yelling at him, how could you serve this in our restaurant? And he said, we have to give them that hospitality.
That's the experience.
And that's the whole experience. And that's really what it comes down to. I can take photos and hire a photographer. That's the service.
Right.
But when they're out during photos, what am I doing to make them feel good? Whether it's, it's a hot day out here, go get ice cream from Nicholas Creamery while we're taking your pictures.
Your favorite.
My favorite. If we're doing something like that, that's how do you make them feel part?
Right. So spinning this again, you also started a podcast recently, a couple months ago. How's that going for you? Are you enjoying that? What are you talking about on your podcast? What's the message that you're sharing?
Yeah, so it's called All Things Monmouth County in Real Estate.
Okay.
And we don't just focus on real estate. Every so often we'll talk about what's happening in the market and what you can expect here in our area. But I'm also interviewing local business owners and giving the idea to someone what it's like to live here.
Okay.
So if you're not from here, and most people that are moving here are not really from here. I'm finding a lot of people are coming from New York. We're having a lot of people move back from West Coast, which is interesting.
Okay.
Maybe they grew up on the East Coast, went out West, and now they're coming back. And even if they grew up here, things have changed so much. So giving them the idea and, what is it like to actually live in Monmouth County, that you could be at the beach and then horse farms within a 30-minute span, and what businesses are around here and what's happening. And, Bell Works now has farmers markets every Wednesday. What is it truly like? What's that lifestyle like? And that's something that I wanted to talk about to people because I genuinely love living here and I want to share that with everybody. I want everyone to know what to expect here.
I don't think I'll move. I don't think I'll ever move west of being 2 blocks from the oceanfront.
Why would you, right? Exactly.
We'll stay there. So you let me know when you want me to come on and be a guest. We can go shoot anywhere in Monmouth County because I love shooting off site too. We did one a couple weeks ago at the Mule Barn Tavern in Sandy Hook. Right? If you've never been out there, it's such a cool spot. Go on a Tuesday afternoon for lunch when there's no shore traffic, and just tell the guard gate that you're going for lunch, and you don't have to pay to get onto Sandy Hook. Pro tip, I learned that the hard way because I paid anyway. I'm like, I made my donation to the national park. It's fine.
Good to know. That's a good idea.
So what's next for you?
Oh, what's next? Just keep doing what we've been doing.
Love it.
Keep growing. Keep giving the unreasonable hospitality. Again, everything I do with intent. There's intention behind it. Even as simple as the podcast, it truly comes back to helping sellers. So even though the podcast is gearing toward buyers or people moving to Monmouth County, let's go back to that house I was just mentioning with the different photos. It's not just a photo of the house. What's around? Oh, there's a playground 3 blocks away. And, the transportation to New York City is a few blocks this way. And again, getting back to the lifestyle, what is it like to live here,
Right.
only helps the sellers when they're going to sell. So it's all intertwined.
Being an expert in your community and everything around you, I think is huge. Selling, you can sell anywhere in the state of New Jersey. You may have your license in other states too, but you are really ingrained and truly an expert selling in Eastern Monmouth County. And I think that's awesome. And it was great to have you,
Thank you.
join me today. I learned a lot and I can't wait till our next conversation.
Yeah,
Thanks,
same
Nicole.
here. Thank you so much, Aaron.